All right, welcome back, fifth graders. We are going to talk about properties of addition today. We talked about adding decimals yesterday. Today we're going to be talking about those properties that help us add mentally. So you can see we are on chapter 5, lesson 6. Properties of adding. Our objective today, I will use the associative, commutative, and identity properties to add whole numbers and decimals mentally. Alright, so what does that mean? Let's first take a look at our vocabulary. So open up your notebook, pause the video if you need to. Let's go ahead and take a look at our vocabulary. Let's go ahead and take a look at those properties. So we have the identity property, the commutative property, and the associative property. So in your notes, if you'd go ahead and write down these 3 different properties and their definitions on the poster to the right. So the identity property, any number plus 0 is that number. 0 plus 3 is equal to 3. 8 plus 0 is equal to 8. 104 plus 0 is equal to 104. So any number you add to 0 is exactly what you started with. Second word, the commutative property. When adding 2 numbers, you can add them in any order. We're adding and multiplying. The commutative property, we can do it in any order we like. We can do 2 plus 3 equals 5 or 3 plus 2 equals 5. It doesn't matter. Order is not important when we're adding or multiplying. The associative property, the third and final term. When adding 3 or more numbers, it doesn't matter what order you add them in. So if we have 5 plus 6 plus 3, we can add that in any order. 6 plus 3 plus 5, 5 plus 3 plus 6. It doesn't matter. It's going to equal the same. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at some friendly pairs. These are going to help us when we are going ahead and adding mentally. So when we are adding mentally, we always want to make some friendly pairs. We have some examples of some friendly pairs here. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 2 plus 8 equals 10. 3 plus 7 equals 10. 4 plus 6 equals 10. 5 plus... What do we notice, right? They all equal 10. Why? Because 10 is a friendly number. So whenever we're adding and we can turn something into 10 or 1 or 100 or 1,000, we always want to make sure that we can do that. So when we are adding numbers in a column, so for example, if we have this number here that we are going to go ahead and add, in order to make it so that we can do it mentally, we want to look for numbers that we can add and that equals 10. So in this first example, if we take a look at the ones column here, I can take a look at this 4, and I can take a look at this 6, and I know that that is equal to 10. That's a nice friendly number. Now I also notice that I can take this 7 here and this 3 and add those together, and that is equal to 10. So that makes it really convenient. Rather than going 4 plus 7 is 11, and 11 plus 6. If I can see those pairs right away, you can do it quicker, mentally in your head. Obviously, 10 plus 10 we can add really, really fast in our heads. We go ahead and put our 2 there and our 0 there. And even now, we want to kind of look for some friendly numbers. Like, I look here and I see, 2 and 3 I know is 5. And I have a 5 here, so I know 5 plus 5, that's equal to 10. And then all I have left over is just this 2 and this 1. And 10 plus 1 plus 2, that's really simple. I can do that in my head. That's 13. So that makes it really simple in order to add. We're looking for those friendly pairs as we are adding our columns together. You have a long list of numbers. look for those friendly pairs. Alright, I would like you guys to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and solve this problem on your whiteboard or in your notebook. Pause the video now and then come back. Alright, so you've solved the problem. So what did we notice as we were solving the problem? Hopefully you noticed that you had some friendly pairs here. We have a 6 and a 4, don't we? That is a 10. We also have an 8 and a 2. So we got an 8 here and we have a 2 here. Those equal 10 as well. So again, we have a 10 plus a 10. That would be equal to 20. Now again, I'm looking for some friendly pairs. Well, I've got a 9 and a 1. That's a 10. I'm looking at a 5 and a 5. That's a 10. So that leaves me a 10 and a 10 plus what I carried over. 10 plus 10 plus 2. This is all things I can do quickly in my head. So our answer then is 220. Good. Alright, so carrying on here. So they want us to use the commutative and the associative properties to reorder and regroup the addends. Addends are just a fancy word for the numbers that we're adding. So 5 and 4/10 is an addend, 2 and 7/10 is an addend. That's all an addend is. So if I take and break these apart, so break these two numbers apart. So first, if I go ahead and I break apart, my pen is not cooperating here. All right, there we go. So if I break this 5 and 4/10 apart into two pieces, so I break it into a 5 and I break it into a 4/10. Let me make that decimal a little bit better. Okay, and I'm going to put parentheses around it. And then I'm going to take the other number. Let's go ahead and do that one in black. I'm going to add these together. I'm going to take this 2 and 7/10. I'm going to break that into two pieces. 2 and 7/10. And then we're going to find out what all that equals. Again, we're trying to do this mentally in our head. So then the next thing I want to take a look at is I want to say, all right, how can I make this so that it's friendly? So the easiest way to do this is to go ahead and take these whole numbers now. Again, we're going to go ahead and use our associative property, because it doesn't matter which order we add these numbers in. So I'm going to combine this 5 and this 2. I'm going to put this right over here. And then I'm going to combine these two decimals as well. 4/10 and 7/10. Now I can just simply add these two whole numbers, 5 and 2. I know that is 7. And I know that this 4/10 and 7/10 is equal to, because I know 4 plus 7 is 11. So that 1 is going to carry over. So really we have 1 and 1/10. And that's something I can do in my head. Because then I'm just adding one whole number plus 7 whole numbers, which is 8. So 8 and 1/10. So going through these steps in our head, breaking it apart, going, all right, let me think, let me add the whole numbers together, then let me add the parts of the numbers, and then add all of them together at the end in order to get our final answer here of 8 and 1/10. How do these properties help you find the sum mentally? Well, because we can break it apart and we can add it in any order. So we want to add those friendly numbers first. Whole numbers first, add the decimals next, and we can do that quickly in our head. Okay, so let's try another one of those. Again, they want us to find our sum here. They want us to show our properties. So obviously we have the identity property there, right? Anything added to 0, that's the easy property. Anything added to 0 is itself. We can almost ignore that 0 because no matter what we add to it, it's not going to change the value of that 0. It's just going to be whatever it is. So let's first take a look at our problem here, and let's look and see what can we see that we can identify. First thing I look at, I notice that I have a friendly number there. I have a 6 and I have a 14. So that is something that I would like to put together. But before I do that, I need to break these numbers apart. So let's break 6 and 4/10 up. So 6 plus 4/10 plus 14 plus, I'm going to break that 12 plus 6/10 plus 0. That's not going to change anything. Now I want to regroup these. I want to put the friendly numbers together, the numbers that I know I can add easily in my head. So I know I can easily add this 14 and this 6 together. So I know I want to put them together because I know 14 and 6 is going to be equal to 20. That's a nice easy one. I also know that I can add these decimals together. Look at this. I have a 4 and a 6, which is also equal to 10. So I also want to add this 4/10 with this 6/10. And then what I have left over is just the 12. I've used all the numbers. I can almost ignore that 0 because it's not going to change the value of my expression at all. Just ignore it. Now I can go ahead and add these together. So 14 plus 6, that's 20. 4, oops, you know what I forgot was a decimal there. 4/10 plus 6/10, that's equal to 1 plus 12. Pretty simple problem we have here now, right? 12 plus 1 plus 20, that's a pretty simple problem. We can do that certainly in our head. So we add that up. 20 plus 1 plus 12. We have a grand total of 33. Okay? So again, going through the process of looking at our numbers, identifying what we want to group together. Wanted to group this 6 and this 14 together. Wanted to group this 4/10 and this 6/10 together. Makes it easier when we are adding, using these properties as we go ahead. Commutative property and the associative property. So here we were breaking it apart, and here we were combining them, flipping them, and adding the easy, friendly numbers together. All right, go ahead and open up your practice book to page 341. Pause the video if you need to. Let's go ahead and talk again. They have given you guys the definitions of commutative property of addition and associative property of addition here. Let me change my color to red so you can see it a little bit better. We already have this in our notes. We have both of these in our notes. Slightly little different definition, but essentially the same thing. Commutative states that the order in which numbers are added does not change. Associative states the way in which numbers are grouped does not change. So we have two different differences there. And really you think of this as 2 numbers, and you think of this as 3 or more numbers. All right, so let's take a look. Let's use these properties to solve this problem mentally. So we have 5 plus 27 plus 15. So if we were just to change the order of the numbers is all we're doing. So we have a 5 and a 15 over here, so we just need to write a 27 there. That's the only number that's left, right? So now we have 27 plus 5 plus 15. So we're grouping them together. See, we have the parentheses here. That is our associative property. Remember, whenever we're grouping together, we talked about that grouped. And now we just need to go ahead and add. So 27 plus the 5 plus the 15, that's equal to 20. So that's easy to add in our head. We get a total of 47. So this is something we want to try to start to do and think about, looking for those friendly numbers. Look at that, 5 and 5. Those are those friendly numbers. We want to make sure that it ends with 0 in the ones column. That's what we're looking for. So Elijah, you watched 47 movies. All right, let's move along using these properties. So here's another one, the identity property. Again, this is the simple one. Anytime you're adding anything plus 0, It's always going to just keep it the same. So we're going to break this apart like we did earlier. So we're breaking this number here apart, 1 and 8/10. So I have 1 plus 8/10. And over here I have 2 and 6/10. So 2 plus the 6/10. That doesn't change. Now we're going to go ahead and change these around. I'm going to regroup them. So I'm taking the whole numbers and grouping the whole numbers together. And then I'm going to group the parts together. So we have, what was that, 8/10? Oh. So we got 6/10. So we're grouping the wholes together. I thought I just did that. Why are we doing that again? All right, well, that's what they want us to do. That's what they want us to do. All right. Now we can simply add 1 and 2. That's 3. 8/10 and 6/10. That's 1 and 4/10. So we can simply add these whole numbers together now. 4, and we got 4/10 left over. Anything added to 0 is going to be the same result. So 4 and 4/10. Just kind of grouping them together. Make it so we can mentally solve the problem. All right. I'm going to skip that one. All right, let's take a look at this one here. Number 4. Would like you guys to go ahead and group these together. Name the properties. Pause the video, and then come back for the result. All right, so let's take a look at this. So as we look at this, again, we're looking for some of those friendly numbers. And I notice right away, let me get my pen. I notice right away I see this. I see these two, which are begging to be brought together. Nice, friendly numbers, because I know 9 plus 1 is equal to 10. Or 9/10 plus 1/10 is equal to 1 whole. So the first thing I would want to do is I would want to group those together. And I'd want to group these whole numbers together as well. So I could go ahead and take this whole number and this whole number and group those together. So if I group 10 plus 3, and then group together the two that are the decimals, 9/10 and 1/10. And then when I go ahead and add these, 10 and 3 is really easy to add. And like I just said, 9/10 and 1/10, that's 1 whole. That's simple to add, isn't it? 13 plus 1, 14 is my total. Just by moving the pieces around, okay? Having a little bit of number sense and looking for those numbers that are going to be friendly numbers in the end that make it easy to add mentally. That's what we're looking for. All right, moving on to the next one. Number 6. Go ahead and take a look at that problem. Try to solve it mentally, but write down what you're thinking on your page. I know the idea is solving it mentally, but write down what it is, actually what the steps are. Pause the video, solve the problem, and then come back for the result. Okay, so Casey spent $2.50 on a snack, $1.24 on gum, $3.76 on a comic book, and $5.50 on lunch. Use mental math to solve it. Well, I automatically look at these two. I look and see how these two numbers need to be matched up, because I know 24 and 76, that's $1. And I see here how I got a 50 and a 50. So I want to match those up as well. So let's go ahead and rewrite these. Not going to write it in the order that they appear there. I want to write them in the order that I know I want to match them with. So I have $2.50 plus $5.50. I want to match those together because they're going to add easily together. And I want to match $1.24. $1.24, make that decimal a little bit better, plus $3.76, because I know those I can solve mentally as well. So let's go ahead and solve this. So if I add these together, I know I can add these wholes together. I can add these parts together. 2 plus 5 is equal to 7. I have another dollar here, so I have a total of $8. Here, doing the same thing. I'm going to add these wholes. 3 plus 1 I know is 4. 76 cents and 24 cents. I know that's going to be another whole, so 1 plus 1 plus 1. That's a total of 5, so we have a grand total of $13 is our total. Hopefully you got that. All right, here's a good one. Solve this mentally, but write down what your thoughts are. What are you combining? Show those properties. Pause the video, and then come back for the solution. All right, so let's take a look at this. So as I look at this, again, I'm looking for numbers that I can match together. Looking for, going back to, I know 8 and 2. I'm looking at the ones column. That's all I'm looking at is just the ones column. I know I can take and I can match this 42 and this 58. Why am I matching those? Because the 2 and the 8 are going to be equal to 10, and that's what I'm looking for is those friendly numbers. What else can I match up? Well, I can match up this 57 and this 43. I don't even care about what's in the tens column, just looking at what's in the ones column. And again, I'm going to match up that 43, and I'm going to match up that 57, because I know that 7 and 3 are equal to 10. And poor old 62 here, he's left all by himself. We'll add 62 at the end. Let's first add these nice friendly numbers. So 42 and 58, oh, that's 100. That's a super friendly number. 43 and 57, that's another 100. That's another super friendly number. Can I take 100 plus 62 and do that in my head? Of course I can. That's 262, isn't it? That is very simple once I reorder those numbers using our associative and our commutative properties. All right, let's go ahead and think about what we have learned today. The one thing I want you to get out of this is these friendly numbers. Understanding that when we are adding numbers together, we can move the numbers around through those properties and find the friendly matches. I don't always have to add it in the order that it appears. I can move the numbers around so that I can find the friendly pair using the associative, using the commutative property. And like I said, the identity property is simple. I'm not worried too much about that, but we always need to use the associative and the commutative property in order to solve our problems mentally. All right, let's say that in our sentence frame. In summary, today I learned I can move the numbers using the associative and the commutative property to solve problems mentally. All right,